YouTube, how are you now? Jay here. So I freely admit that I kind of slept on the Xbox One when this console generation started. I was all in on the PS4. I was excited to play Uncharted and all the exclusives they had over there. And while I definitely love my PS4, the Xbox has grown on me considerably. Now I've actually owned two Xbox Ones this generation. The first one I bought from a friend, and it just kind of honestly sat on my shelf. I didn't have anything I was excited about playing, so I ended up selling it. This past Christmas, I actually got another Xbox from my wife, and the first thing I did was sign up for the Game Pass Ultimate service. Before we get into the video, please do consider subscribing down below, and now, let's take a look at Game Pass. So I maintain that Game Pass is the best money you can spend in gaming right now. I have a Game Pass Ultimate subscription, so for $15 a month I get a ton of curated games I can choose from every month on both Xbox and PC to play. Just look at some of the games offered, everything from Gears of War, the Halo series, Dishonored 2, Sunset Overdrive. There's a plethora of AAA titles available for you to play. And with the announcement last week of xCloud being part and parcel of Game Pass Ultimate moving forward, it allows you to stream your games onto any mobile device. It's become even more of a steal for that $15 price point. But even though there's a massive amount of AAA titles to choose from, I want to shine the spotlight on 10 of my favorite smaller games on the service that I think you should check out. So without further ado, here's 10 of our favorite games on Game Pass for the Xbox One as of July 2020. Alright, so it's me, so you knew there was going to be at least one roguelike game on here since I love them so much. So let's hop into the pure chaos that is Wizard of Legend. In Wizard of Legend, you play the part of a spellslinger sent back in time to take part in a series of trials. And as you proceed on your fast-paced dungeon crawl, you acquire more and more gear, spells, and signature attacks to improve your wizard. It's as straightforward as you can get. Proceed through each level, get as far as you can, collect any gear you possibly can find, rinse and repeat when you die. And you will die, repeatedly. It's a roguelite. It's worth it. It's a pixely wonderland of great sprites and animations. Wizard of Legend is an absolute joy to play. Kind of the antithesis of Wizard of Legend, sometimes you just need a methodical, grindy, turn-based RPG. When you couple that with Joe Madureira's incredible visuals, you've got a must-play game. Battle Chasers Nightwar takes place in the universe of the same name from the comic books and is a love letter to your favorite RPGs from years past. With a deep progression system for each character, tons of equipment options, a massive overworld, dungeons, a fishing minigame, and explorable locales all over the map, Nightwar is everything my mind could want from an RPG. But when you pair that with the undeniable charm of Calibretto, the stoic nature of Garrison, and the youthful exuberance of Gully, you get a game that goes over the top and becomes something truly special. Alright, let's get this one out of the way immediately. This is 100% the spiritual ancestor of Symphony of the Night, and it revels in it. That's what happens when your lead developer is Koji Igarashi, who led the Castlevania team. In Ritual of the Night, you play as Miriam, a character known as a Shardbinder who can absorb the spiritual essence of enemies she's defeated to use their talents and abilities. In the classic style of all great Metroidvania games, there's gear to find, life bars to increase, and save points aplenty to discover, with massive boss battles to deal with at the end of each level. The Bloodstained series, both Ritual of the Night and Curse of the Moon 1 and 2, are fantastic games, and you'll be hard-pressed to find something as beautiful and as fun as this one on Game Pass. A beautiful SNES-inspired action RPG, CrossCode made the move from PC and dropped onto Game Pass this past month. You control the character of Leah, an avatar in the MMO-esque world of the Crossworlds. You start off on a cargo ship, where you discover that you have both an inability to speak, as well as a complete lack of your memories. Your quest is to proceed into the Crossworlds and recover them. There's a good number of puzzles to solve along the way, and the combat is fast and frantic. At the same time, it plays so much like classic SNES titles that you'll immediately fall into muscle memory for something you've never played before. It was an interesting and eye-opening experience to all of a sudden hit a rhythm and feel like I'd been playing the game since I was a kid. As a huge fan of the YouTube channel Single Track Sampler, mountain biking fascinates me. Especially since, as a guy of my size, it's not something I'll be partaking in anytime soon. Enter Descenders from Rage Squid. A sort of choose-your-own mountain biking adventure game, Descenders puts you behind the handlebars of a new rider determined to conquer the mountain. It's as simple as that. As you proceed through each level, choosing your own path, you'll be given different objectives to complete, completely different layouts to bike, and progressively more challenging obstacles to overcome. Cutting corners on sharp berms or launching off a beautifully created wooden ramp gives you a sense of freedom and joy that's hard to top. Bike helmet camera mode is especially fun. Riding in first person is a rush. So what happens when you take a cute kitty cat, give it a Big Daddy mech from BioShock, and put it in a black and white interpretation of the Super Metroid universe? You get the deceptively adorable Gato Roboto, a fantastic Metroidvania game. Now, it is a significantly more linear world than Super Metroid, but there are definitely still aspects of Metroidvania in play here. You'll find weapons that open up other paths or that will destroy enemies, and you'll have to backtrack to get through certain areas.
It's a fun game, and the black and white art style makes it stand out visually from other games on the Game Pass service. Kiki is a great protagonist, but she is a cat, so expect some general aloofness and catitude as you progress. One part action platformer, one part turn-based RPG, Indivisible is a beautiful game from the team at Lab Zero. You play the part of Anja, a headstrong girl out for revenge after the murder of her father. Your village burnt down, you confront your father's killer only to absorb him into your mind. That sets off a chain of events that puts you on the road to take down the evil overlord. All the while, you're going to meet additional heroes and characters that get absorbed into your mind, which grants you their combat prowess in battle. Yeah, it's a confusing elevator pitch, but I can tell you without hesitation it's by far one of my favorite games of the last year, and the visuals alone make it worth the hard drive space. Toss in a deep combat system, great voice acting, and a wonderful platforming exploration experience, and you won't be disappointed. Take the survival horror genre, and instead of zombies and monsters coming to get you, it's just you against the elements in northern Canada after a freak phenomenon knocks out all electrical devices. Along the way, you scavenge and scrounge tools and materials to survive, whether it's kindling for a fire, weapons to defend yourself, or clothes to stay warm. That, in a nutshell, is The Long Dark. I've been playing The Long Dark for years now on Steam, and to get it on console is a treat. You have options to play the Fantastic Story mode, which guides you through the lives of pilot Will Mackenzie and Dr. Astrid Greenwood, as well as a sandbox mode, which just puts you in the world of The Long Dark in a particular stretch of the terrain. It's a challenging game, so expect to fail frequently, but the skills you acquire as you play are fantastic. It teaches you more about the game as you go. It's one of my favorites on the service. Well, you've played the original 3 Streets of Rage games on the Genesis or Mega Drive, but you've been waiting decades for the 4th installment. And now it's here. This game takes everything you loved about the original Streets of Rage games, turns it up to 11, and tosses on a fresh coat of paint to make the characters bigger, better looking, and more fluidly animated. It's a basic game. Point A to point B every level, fight the boss, and repeat. But the basic nature of it is what makes beat-em-up games so damn good. You know what you're in for, your expectations are set, and you're given a beautiful package like Streets of Rage 4. You can run through the main plot of story mode single player or with a few friends, arcade mode, boss rush mode, a versus mode against a friend, online play for 2 players, and significantly more. Streets of Rage 4 is one of my favorite games of the year, and it plays so well on the Xbox. Finally, we come to Wargroove, in what can only be described as the most Advance Wars or Fire Emblem game you'll play that doesn't have those names in the title. Wargroove is a tactical strategy game in which you move troops around the map. I mean, if you've played either of those Nintendo franchises before, you've played the basics of this one. But there's a lot more depth in play here that goes beyond even those patron saints of tactics. Each unit has crit requirements that will trigger when placed or used correctly, so there's a deeper strategy in play here beyond just a Zerg rush to win. You need to think of this as chess rather than just a full frontal assault. Couple that with truly charming characters and animations, and you've got a game that will keep you coming back. With roughly 40 hours of gameplay in the story mode, this is a can't-miss title.
Alright guys, there you have it. 10 of my favorite games on the Xbox Game Pass service as of July 2020. Now, there's definitely some AAA games on the service that I like. I've played the Wolfenstein games, that's how I'm playing Final Fantasy 15, but there's so many great independent games on there that I just love it. And, you know, stuff like Gears of War and Halo, they're not games for me. They're not things that I enjoy. But I like all of the little games that Microsoft is putting on there, or allowing to appear on the service, more importantly. Microsoft has quietly turned into a huge supporter of independent developers this generation. It's pretty darn cool, I'm not gonna lie. But I want to hear from you guys. Down below, let me know what your favorite games are from the Game Pass service that aren't the AAA big budget games. Let me know the little guys that you enjoy down there. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. And if you didn't like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs down and let us know what we can do better in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing, and while you're there, slide on over and ring that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I've been Jay, play more games, and stay square.